Welcome to the Thriving Tribesman podcast. My name is Curry, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Today we're going to be talking about really establishing your boundaries, or at least re-establishing your boundaries. When you establish your boundaries, it's the difference that makes the difference. And I don't mean this by you said it's something that you might work. This will definitely work. A lot of guys that are in a sexless situation, one of the major things is the fact that they've never set boundaries, and a lot of it comes from this mindset of happy wife, happy life. So she tells you certain things and some things that you don't agree with, and sometimes your whole family has ended up in a mess because she's held to your guns. You knew the mess was going to happen. You could have prevented it, but you didn't stand your ground and made your statement and kept hold of it. And this is a big issue, because when there's certain, I'm trying to put it in a nice way because I don't want it to seem like I'm being sexist, but at the same time, there's a bit of it where the man is the leader of the house, and you're a leader of the house based on some of the responsibilities that you take on. So, whether if it's just really paying for all the bills and other things like that. And to a certain extent, my wife, she allows me to have full reign on that side, and we'll discuss, but I'll essentially always make the final decision. Then there are some spaces where, when it comes to dealing with teachers at school and the academic route for the children and what they require, what they need, she's much smarter than I am in terms of dealing with those things. So she takes reign on those things and I become submissive. So there is a case where you have to be submissive to your wife, and you have to take the reins and be a leader. But in some relationships, the wife is the leader of everything. And this is one of those things where if she doesn't respect you, or she feels like you're not capable of making decisions, then she can make it wild for you. And again, in terms of when she does run things, you almost take this parent-child dynamic, which is so unattractive for women. So if she has to make all the decisions, if she has to, I'm saying this because we're the situation where I think my wife had reached decision fatigue by Sunday morning. She'd already made quite a few decisions, and then she started speaking to me in a very condescending tone. Now, some guys would have sort of just acquiesced, or just sort of, I don't really upset it anymore, so I'm not going to. But then I said, I just called it out. I said, you're speaking to me in a condescending tone, and I don't appreciate it. And then she tried to justify it, and I said, no, you can't justify it. It's not cool. And at that moment, she just paused and said, I'm sorry. And what happened after that was an amazing connection, and the way we treated each other was amazing. We had this sort of feeling of almost ecstasy, like almost having an orgasm without actually having the sex, because you felt this amazing connection that I've established my boundary. She's realized that she's overstepped, and she's apologized, which has changed my view of what could have happened. Now, most of you guys, and I've done this before, so I'm speaking from past experience, she would have overstepped, would have annoyed me, and then I would sulk, and then allow that to really spoil the rest of my day. Not just my day, but it's now spoils her day. And then I just look still like this sulky kid. So all of a sudden, she doesn't see it as what's wrong with him. And I just spoke to him because in her mind, she was probably thinking, I'm just trying to address an issue as a leader. But she didn't realize that she also overstepped while she was doing it. So the fact that I paused it and said, no, this is, you're overstepping here. She took responsibility for it, and it allowed us to have the rest of the day in an amazing way. Now, if this has happened to you and then you sulk, you stonewall her, and you behave like a child and just really ignore and not do anything about it, over the day, it will just keep going through your mind. And this was what was amazing about it. And it made me realize, because we've been doing this for quite some time, establishing boundaries. She's done the same to me. So is that when you mention it and then you hash it out, it's done. It's all of a sudden your brain is free to now experience happiness, joy. You're open to the rest of the day and really enjoy the rest of your day. Whereas if I didn't say anything, I would have spent the rest of the day that determining what happens for the rest of my day. So it was absolutely powerful, and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, I need to speak about this, because some of you guys, you talk about the seduction end of things. I tried to buy flowers and then cook dinner and do all these other things. But a part of it is that it has to be a holistic approach. You can't, it's almost like if you are, if we're playing soccer, for instance, and I'm saying soccer because a lot of our audience are American, there isn't one way of scoring a goal. There's what we call, you can score from a header, you can score from a free kick, you can score from a penalty, you can score from, open play, from the feet. So there's multiple ways of a goal being scored. And most people look at seduction, or at least having sex with their partner, looking from a one-dimensional way, and they just want to go one route. But there's certain things that contribute all together to make it happen. And one of them is really establishing those boundaries. So when somebody says, speak to you in a condescending tone, and it's not nice, he's speaking to you like a child, you call it out and say, no, I'm not going to allow you to do that. I don't do that to you. I don't expect you to do that to me. Instantly, at that point, she was speaking to you like a child, or there was that child-parent dynamic. If you take it, then she sees you as a child. If you don't take it, she then sees you as an adult. And it's one of those things. It's I can give you another example of this. And I was watching a program about, it's called The Dog Whisperer. And this lady, she was like, I've got no idea what's wrong with my dog. My dog keeps biting people, even bit some family members. Family members are not coming to my house anymore. And Caesar was like, let me watch this dog. And then he was looking at it. And he said, there's nothing wrong with the dog. The problem is that you get nervous before the situation happens. So the dog feels nervous. And then the dog feels like it needs to protect you. So really, what's happening here is the fact that they're reacting to your bad emotions. And this is exactly what usually happens, that within your relationship, if you're already nervous and you're already apprehensive and you haven't established your background, and she sees you as a child, she will react to how you think of yourself. So if you think yourself negatively, she will react in that way. It's not in a positive way in terms of a sexual contact. So this is, I was trying to make that point, and I didn't even know where I was going with it. But I think you sort of get the idea that the way you feel about yourself and the way you establish the boundaries within your relationship is very important, because it dictates the way you're going to behave in terms of sexual encounters within your relationship. So it's really important to set boundaries, be able to speak out loud and be bold. And even when you speak out loud and be bold and it's your first time to say it, stick to your guns. no matter how angry they get, if they ignore you, as long as you've said your piece, it will make sense. Now, if they get angry at you because you've said your piece and then they are being persistent with it, then you now know that you're in a very toxic relationship. Luckily, my wife, she proved that she's the perfect wife because she just recognized what was happening and then she quickly nipped it in the bud. So this is very, very important, guys. And it's probably one of the fundamental things that you need to be doing, and not just in your house with your wife, but even at work with people. You know, I've had guys who started speaking out loud at me, and I said, hang on, I don't know who you think you are talking to me like that, but you need to tone your voice down right now. And instantly you can see them reacting like, oh shit, things have just got real right now. And I never say it in an aggressive tone. I say it in a very calm tone, that I'm not prepared to be spoken to like I'm some sort of kid or child or some sort of invalid. So it's very, very important, even in places in public, when people do things, people have cut in the line, just completely either ignorant or just really think that they're too clever for their boots. I call it out, say, excuse me, you've just jumped the queue, there's people over here. That's my boundary, you're encroaching on my boundary, so I'm going to say something to it. Now, there is factors about it, is that I do Muay Thai, I feel confident about handling myself, so I'm not afraid to have those confrontations. So don't go out and start confronting people, because there's crazy people out there. But what I'm saying is that it's something that you need to have within your life to be able to do consistently, really setting boundaries around you. And really, this is a mark of a leader, when you can establish boundaries. So this is very important, guys. If you want to learn more about becoming a better leader, establishing boundaries, go to our Instagram, Thriving Tribesmen, on Instagram, and send us a DM, and you have free resources. There'll be free resources for you over there. So thank you very much for listening. I'll be speaking to you. Take care.